Hey guys, Jake here. I wanted to give you a tour of our studio that we're using for our online church because I've made some significant updates since my last video on this that I released about a week ago. If you haven't seen that other video, I talk more about this room, how it's just a simple office space. We treated it with some blackout cloths over here. We have some sound absorption over here. I've got a simple, 3-point lighting system. It's all very straightforward, not a very complicated setup at all. But about a week ago, I was able to go and get our Midas M32R sound console. It was stored in the high school that our church meets at, and getting this console in the studio makes the setup much more efficient. Before I had the PreSonus, and the PreSonus Studio Live does not have Dante capability, which is probably the biggest downfall of that line of mixing consoles, but this guy, it does. Back here, if you don't know what Dante is, basically, I don't know if you can really see it, but you have the ability to, put the mixing console on an Ethernet network, and then Dante is a protocol that you can send audio from the mixing console to pretty much any other computing device that is Dante enabled. Along with the mixing console, I was also able to get our S32 stage box, which also makes the setup much cleaner, much more efficient. We're not using very many of the channels, but it just makes it so we have a lot less cables going from there to the mixer. And then because of Dante, we just have one cable coming out of our computer running Ableton right here, and it's plugged into the Ethernet switch. You can see we've got quite a few cables going into this switch, Cat 6 cables, Cat 5 cables, and then we get all of our Ableton tracks into the mixer via the Dante card. And we get all of our tracks into this computer, which runs our Pro Tools template, which you'll see right there. So we get all the audio from the mixing console, like our microphones, tracks, instruments, and they go into this computer, into the Pro Tools template, and the template has a master left and right output. It goes back to this mixing console over Dante into these two channels. So then we can hear through our studio speakers what's actually being mixed in the template. So really, really slick setup, really happy with it. And then this audio for the master mix from the Pro Tools template is also being sent into our new video switching device. So we could stream live the audio if we wanted to, but in this case we're doing simulated live streams for our church, so we end up just really recording the multi-track here. And I do record our master mix, but I go back through and remix it anyways, because nobody's actively mixing here, because usually it's just my wife and I singing and playing, and then getting all of this stuff recorded, and then I'll come in and I'll just mix it in post. All right, the next significant upgrade that I've got here is this PCIe expansion chassis with some PCIe cards. This is the Sonnet Echo Express chassis. It's like the SE3 model. I'll be sure to link all this below. And inside we've got the Blackmagic DeckLink Duo, and then we've also got a just a 4-port USB card, which currently I don't have anything plugged into, but I'm gonna make a video that's more in depth about that. What it's doing for us is it's taking all of our video outputs from ProPresenter. Right now I'm running an output for our main screen with the backgrounds behind me. I have an output also for our stage display, and then an output for our lower thirds. So this guy, man, I wish I knew about this a long time ago. Like I said, I'll make a more in-depth video about why you might want to consider getting one of those for your worship ministry. And again, this computer is still running ProPresenter 7, which takes care of all of our needs. We've got stage display right there. We've got the main background TV going on right there. And then on our main video feed, we have lower thirds being overlaid on the video. And then you've probably noticed by now, probably the most significant upgrade we've made is we've got the ATEM switcher. So here is a monitor showing the multi-screen of the switcher. We've got 2 cameras right now, probably gonna have more, but we've got camera 1, camera 2, and then lower thirds. And then here's the switcher itself. We've got the ATEM Television Studio HD by Blackmagic Design. This can take up to 8 different inputs. So as I mentioned, ProPresenter is sending a signal via SDI cable, and then these are our 2 GH5 cameras. And then we added this side angle GH5. I zoomed in a little bit, so it's from the side, it's a little bit tighter. It just really helps switch up the perspective of the shots and hopefully just makes it a little less monotonous for viewers when they're watching. I plan on adding a third angle. I have an old GH4 camera that I think I might like set like right here on the piano or something like that, so we could have 3 angles to bounce around on. But be sure to check out the description because I'm gonna link our final service video from this past weekend so you can see what this multi-camera setup looks like. All right guys, I saved the best for last, so be prepared, have your mind blown. So here's my Ableton Live session, right? So let's go ahead and hit the next song here, Who You Say I Am. You see these little cues right here? If you can get closer here, I can't focus that close. These are actually camera angle switching cues. So I am automating our ATEM switcher with Ableton Live. So watch this. I'm gonna come back over here. Ableton's playing right now. Nobody's touching the switcher. And this is our main program feed right here, right? So lyrics are being automated. And then, see how that just happened? The ATEM was automated to cut back to camera 1. And then now it's back at camera 2. So what's awesome is we don't have to have someone running our video switcher live. It would be great, but as you all know, we're in kind of desperate times and we can't really have a bunch of people come together and be a big production crew. So Ableton Live, as always, is our production hub that's not only automating lyrics and backgrounds, it can also automate lights, but now it's also automating the ATEM switcher. So here is a nice wider view of all this for you. So honestly, I'm still perfecting my system with Ableton automation with the ATEM. So I'll go in depth of that in a more future video. I'll actually go in depth with pretty much all of this stuff in their own separate videos, because if I talked about it all right now, it would just be a very long video. And honestly, I just want to give it a little bit more time to kind of marinate, so to speak. A lot of this stuff is pretty new to me, especially this more advanced stuff with like getting an ATEM switcher. Fortunately, it's very intuitive to set up, but I still get a lot to learn. Oh, and one more thing, as Steve Jobs says, you know, I really wanted to make sure as we were producing for our online services that I had really just inspirational figures to look up to. So here we've got Chad Vegas. He is the video director at Bethel. And then we've also got Luke Hendrickson, such a handsome guy, who is the broadcast mix engineer at Bethel as well. So, you know, as I'm slaving away here at my production studio and, you know, I'm troubleshooting things or things just don't sound or look right, I can just look up at their portraits and it'll just be inspiring. Some final words for you guys. If you are brand new to live streaming for your church, I wouldn't recommend necessarily going as advanced as this setup because there are just so many different moving parts and pieces. And obviously, fortunately, before this whole shelter in place, we can't gather together live for worship services thing that's been happening lately, like we had a lot of the right building blocks in place already, like digital mixing console, Dante networking. We didn't have as much as video stuff. That's what's more new to us. But there are simpler ways to build a really great live streaming system at your church. And that's why I created the Beginner's Guide to Live Streaming for Churches course. It's going to be linked below this video. It's going to show you a much simpler setup, honestly just much more similar to the one camera setup I showed you in Studio Tour 1.0. So definitely check out that course. Again, if you're new to this stuff, if live streaming gear, video gear, audio stuff's a little bit intimidating, that is going to help you get up and running very, very quickly. So I'll link that below. Go check it out. And of course, make sure you download the Worship Ministry Toolkit linked below this video. We're going to add all the new gear we've been adding to this setup, whether it's the ATEM, whether it is that Sonnet Express PCI expansion chassis. Man, these are just some really powerful tools. They're going to really help you out in your worship ministry. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos that we have, as whether they're the updates we make to this studio or just other videos to help you grow yourself and grow your church.